The stream is starting. Hopefully it's going up. Gonna make sure. Just gonna sing weirdly until everything is working and people tell me that they can see me. And that stuff is up. How are all of you just singing awkwardly until people in the chat say, "Hey Jesse, we can see you, we can hear you." Or you're just gonna say nothing at all, and then I will just keep singing awfully. I am so weird. I don't know. Hi, Mackenzie. I hope you're enjoying making dinner. Hi, W2F. Hey, Andrea. Excuse me, can't say words. Also, gosh, lots of echoes because stuff. Gotta make sure I'm muting things. Where am I hearing myself? Sorry, I hear myself still. One of my files is open and I am hearing my voice echoing in my ear. Why is that happening? 1 second, people. Sorry for the weirdness. Ah, there you are. Haha, take that off. All right, there we go. Now I am up. How is everyone? It would be very bad. I can't cook. I'm sure your food is going to be wonderful. I can barely cook myself. I've been cooking my cooking is mostly stir fry. Like after we do this, I'm going to be I'm going to go and make a stir fry, which is just basically some veggies, some meat, some sauce, and that's about it. So good morning, Crad Amy. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Apologies if I'm not. Thank you for joining us at 1 a.m. I hope you're enjoying yourself. Amanda, hello. Some random, 4 p.m. I'm here at work. I'm at work, quote unquote. It's 4 p.m. where I am right now, so technically I should be at work, but I've been doing stuff all day, and whatever, time is irrelevant now during our current world crisis, so it doesn't really matter. Failure is inevitable. Persistence is futile. I am sure, Mackenzie. What are you making, Mackenzie? I'm curious what you're making, because I'm sure it's going to be fine. Hello, Spirit. Spirit US. It's midnight and I have deadline fear, but this will be nice before I sleep. Oh well, thank you for joining. I hope it'll be a fun time. Lamb. You're making lamb. Okay, that is intense. I have literally zero idea on how to make lamb. My culinary skills stop at pancakes. I can make chocolate chip pancakes, and that's about it. Well, I hope everyone is doing well. I know for me, this is, if you're in the United States, I know a lot of you aren't all in the United States, but I know that for me, this week has been particularly hard on my mental health. So I've been trying to have some coping mechanisms and making sure I stay, active and mentally in a positive space. Doing live streams like this is part of that. So the reason I share that is I hope all of you out there are doing the same and trying to stay positive, stay happy, stay healthy, and just doing the best you can. Hi Tom, and hi Seal, and oh hey Try, you actually made it to a live stream for once. Yes, I hope you're doing well as well. For those of you who don't know, Triangulum Audio Studios, hopefully I'm saying your name right. I can never say your Triangulum. Is a wonderful YouTuber, Trek YouTuber, who does wonderful videos that you should definitely go check out when you're not checking out my videos. Mackenzie, Jesse, I burn eggs. Hey, I burned eggs this morning. I cooked bacon and eggs. That's literally all I had. And then cold brew coffee that I pre-purchased at the store. And I screwed that up. So, but yes, Try, I'm giving you a heart as well. You are wonderful. And Seal, I appreciate you coming to live streams. Thank you so much. I enjoy doing them. Like I said, it's part of my coping mechanism. It's always right now I am a very extroverted person. And so this kind of moment in our lives right now is kind of difficult for me in mental health wise. So doing this stuff is really awesome and a lot of fun, and I'm just glad that you guys all join. Cred Amy, hopefully again I'm saying your name right. Where do you get the Star Trek uniform jackets? They're amazing, and I want the Star Trek TNG Command jacket. I get them from like a bunch of eclectic places. This one, I believe, in particular, was from. I think this one was from ThinkGeek, I believe. And then the TNG like jumper one, that's like a onesie pajama set that I use for some of my videos, and also sleep in because it's a comfy onesie. That one is from ThinkGeek as well. And then all the other ones that I use, like the Enterprise era one, the TOS Admiral uniform, all those like sweatshirts and everything. I think I got those from like random cosplay sites that like make them like professionally. They take like a few weeks to actually come in and things. I do want to start. I love these like sweatshirts. They're a lot of fun. I enjoy them quite a bit. I don't know if you can see on the video. Let's see if we can angle it down a little bit. You can see like this is the nice little Starfleet uniform. I do want to actually start doing like really nice cosplay. It's a little hard for me because I have like zero awareness how to do like make costumes and things. So I have to like buy it all from scratch or ask people, which is hard right now because of the world. So I do hope that I can. I do have that. I also do have a TOS dress that I bought from as well. Anime, I'm okay. I'm here. The party can start now. Well, we were all waiting for you, so I'm very glad that you were able to join us. Someone did. Steele, you mentioned Lower Decks. Someone on Twitter did a really wonderful Lower Decks cosplay that I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I really want that. Hi, Galvion. Hopefully I'm saying your name right as well. Tom, I find it almost impossible to scramble eggs and not leave egg residue at the bottom of the pan. Always have to leave to soak. Right now, most of my egg is on the is on my stove counter, so that's mostly fun. I would look awesome in a Pike disco uniform. Oh my gosh, I do want that. I love Pike's uniform, quite a bit. I like that like slightly asymmetrical look of it. So I'm very excited about that. Oh, Mackenzie, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Seal, I really like the Lower Decks uniform design. Yeah, it looks really cool. It's sorry, I'll pull it up here real quick because now I'm curious so I can like talk about it because I do think the Lower Decks one is really cool, but I don't remember specifics up ahead. It's like feels like a good like evolution of like the TNG uniform, but like a little bit nicer. Yeah, like here you can see also I am very excited for whoever this character is because she just looks amazing. But they all look amazing to be. Actually, the green character probably will end up being my favorite. I can already tell. But yeah, this uniform, I just like that like kind of like again the asymmetrical look to it. And I like the little like V there. Jesse's got a crush on Pike. A little bit of a crush on Pike. I actually have more. It's interesting because like I do like Pike. Sorry, I just got a thing from work. Apologies. Sorry, just something from work came up. Want to make sure I just address that. I do have kind of a crush on Pike, but my bigger crush on Discovery is actually Ethan Peck. Ethan Peck Spock, which was kind of funny because I tweeted out something about like I have an attraction to like Vulcanoid men with beards, and Mary Chieffo liked that tweet. Who plays Mary Chieffo? She plays L'Rell on Discovery, which is like you know him. You worked with him. You've been on sets with him, so it feels weird that I'm like getting attracted to someone that you actually know in real life. But I do have a crush on Pike. Now Tom Moore is actually very correct. I do kind of have a crush on Riker, which is a bit creepy. Actually, this is gonna be really creepy. Oh god. Because Riker weirdly looks like a lot like my father. Like my dad looks a hell of a lot like Riker. It's it's kind of creepy, which is, oh, maybe I shouldn't say that. That's gonna bring up all sorts of daddy issues. Also, I hope my dad isn't watching this live stream because sometimes he does. Hi, Dad. Oh god, I'm gonna just stop talking now. I'm probably getting red. We will get started on reading some of my fan fiction in just a little bit, but I do just want to keep chatting for a little while just to see if any more people show up, and just gonna let everyone kind of relax. Miguel, greetings from Venezuela. A virtual hug, sending you a virtual hug as well. Live long and prosper, my friend. Mackenzie, I have a crush on all the Star Trek women, just all of them. Yes, me as well. Especially like, it's always strange, especially like older Trek, because like as a trans person, there and with like a lot of female characters from my youth, I had this weird like thing where I was both like attracted to women because I'm bisexual. A lot of like the women on Trek, but then I'm also like, I want to also be you, especially like Jadzia Dax. So I like had a big crush on Jadzia so much, but I'm also like, I also want to be you, which is just, for a kid, it is that is a very confusing feeling to parse out. Seal, all the Zhat Vash have seen the admonition, right? And only women see the admonition, and Narek is failed Zhat Vash. Yeah, we've been looking in the wrong place for a trans character on Picard. I mean, I don't think anyone ever said explicitly that only the Zhat Vash can be women. And it is confusing, because I am wondering what their implication is, because they only had women in that Zhat Vash scene, and Narek said he was failed at being a Zhat Vash. And there was like also reference earlier in the season of like he had a brother who disappeared, but then we see that he has a sister with Narissa. So is she the brother? Did they have to get like a gender change to do the admonition? Was she trans and therefore able to do the admonition? There's actually a wonderful story by Neil Gaiman. If you read his Sandman comics, there's a wonderful Sandman comic story that I always loved, because there is a story with a trans character in it, where she's a trans woman, and to go into like the dreaming, which is the area that like the Sandman lives, these women can try to go into the dreaming, and only women can do it. And the witch who is facilitating this ritual says the trans woman can't join, and she like has this moment, it's like, screw you, I'm a woman, I can do this just as well as you. So I think that's super cool. Or maybe sister and brother is just a title, otherwise why must they be sexual? I mean, it is weird. Again, it's one of those like, and I talked about this in my Picard review, it's one of those like weird, lots of things that we can apply, but nothing is explicitly stated, which, I mean, could be fun, but I wish we had a little bit more definition to their relationship between Narek and Narissa. Like a little bit more, I just need a little bit more to hook into with the two of them. Like a little bit of like some concreteness to their history together, because we get like implications that they've known each other for a while and they're brother and sister, but there's nothing like very fixed that they actually talk about in the show. And I'm sure either they filmed it, wrote it, or the actors came up with a background for them that exists somewhere out there in the ether, but it was not really present in the show, so that was something I was sad about. Also, I'm seeing a lot of Jadzia love down in the chat, which always makes me happy. Tom Moore, Jadzia is awesome. Ezri, though, her insecurities drawing her to Jadzia's life kind of went too far when she went for Worf, in my opinion. I don't disagree. And I've talked a little bit about the difference between Jadzia and Ezri, because for me, I love both of them. And for me, Jadzia was the person that I wanted to be. Like, she's this like very confident, self-actualized, very like, she's definitely very feminine, definitely a woman, but she also can like rough and tumble with the guys as well and like hold her own. She was just a very well-written character in that regard. And then Ezri was the person who I feel like I am. And maybe I'm hopefully growing into being a Jadzia, but I identified a lot more personally with Ezri, because she did have all this insecurity. She was trying to figure herself out. She didn't know who she was, and that just resonates so much with me as when I was like starting my transition as a trans person. So Ezri was sort of like who I saw myself as, and Jadzia was who I wanted to be. And so it's interesting that Esri's sort of mirror development of how she like grows into being a she like starts to become Jadzia, but then she starts to like figure her own stuff out and like figure out her own path. So I agree. Spirits US, Spirit US. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'd like a story about the old man Dax. There is actually a great book called The Lives of Dax. That is a like a short novella book. Like there's a bunch of short stories, one for each of Jadzia's different lives. So if you're really interested in more about Dax, I would highly recommend that book. Some random hello comrades and potential comrades. Hello. Yes, it's good, yeah. Yes, that is good. Welcome. Welcome to Russian. We are time to, I don't know, I'm sorry, this accent is probably offensive to somebody. It's like somewhat Russian, somewhat like vampire, like, I want to suck your blood, and also rage against the capitalist system, even though vampires are also a metaphor for capitalists. This is all very crazy. I'm sorry that I am doing this. I should probably stop. Oh, why do people watch me? I hope me being weird is enjoyable to all of you. She did more recognizable counseling in a single episode, Esri did, than Troy did in 7 years. Yeah, she didn't like sense a problem. She actually legitimately did Charlie Dawson, that is a very confused vampire. I mean, not wrong. I am a very, very, very confused vampire. It's a very accurate way to describe me. You want a bit Christopher Walken at the end? It's like, I don't know what you want me to do, but maybe this is the best Christopher Walken that I can do, and I hope that I should don't words and stuff, maybe a script for me. Yeah, you're welcome. Someone meme that. And we'll get started to read some fan fiction a little bit, but I'm just enjoying the conversation. Sorry, and also 1 second, you guys are going to get to see my pajama bottoms because my cat is meowing to be let into the room. So I'll be right back. Hope everyone enjoyed my my like nice checkered pajama bottoms there, and also my cat running into the room. That's for those of you who haven't met Newt. That is Newt. You'll probably see him scurrying around in the background there. He is a lovely. I actually wrote some for the first time in forever yesterday. Oh, congratulations, Seal. That's wonderful. It takes like I have so much like. Part of the reason I do a lot of these YouTube videos, like, because I like doing them and I like educating, but also it's part of like me trying to like make sure I keep a schedule with writing and like overcome my writing anxiety. Because honestly, the hardest part of writing is the first like hurdle of actually starting to write, like actually starting to like sit down and begin writing. So I commend you, Seal, for actually writing some. That's really great. And also you sent me your Star Trek Picard thoughts, and it was a very long list. I'd read some of it because it was some of your stuff that you had posted on my comment section, but I've been going through it, and you have some really, really cool thoughts, Seal, so thank you for sending those to me. And you should post them somewhere, too, if you're interesting. I am a leggings man. I always enjoy a good pair of graphic bottoms. I do have a bunch of leggings over there, which I do quite enjoy. Newt is a lovely name for a cat. Actually... Sorry, I went back one thing. I also just am a huge pajama bottom person in general. I have, like, nothing but pajama bottoms. So, if I could live exclusively on pajama bottoms, I would and pretty much do at this point. And Newt is a lovely name for a cat. Thank you. He's actually named after Newt Scamander. I've told this story before, but Newt Scamander from the Harry Potter movies. Not because they're particularly great movies, but just because I identify with that character so much. He's a Hufflepuff like me. He definitely has Asperger's like I do, or at least is on the autism spectrum, because I know Asperger's is sort of an outdated term. And then also, he's played by, blanking on the actor, Eddie Redmayne, who played a trans woman in a very famous movie. So I can kind of like weirdly make that work in my head. So I really just always loved Loved the Newt name. I got Wellington. I got turned into a newt. But I got better. This mostly comes at night, mostly. I'm gonna stick with he's named after aliens, try. Yes. Oh, gosh, Newt in Aliens. Such a bum way to... Well, I won't spoil, but I loved Newt, and I'm very sad about where her character went, or did not go, I should say. What other Star Trek characters' Hogwarts houses? I actually did a video a while ago sorting the captains of the show, and I think I have on my docket at some point in the near future. Yes, I actually have. I'm going to be sorting the TNG crew in a future video for fun, so look forward to that. I'm also going to do a video where I rank Star Trek beards by sexiness, so enjoy that. I have weird things on my docket that I make, so. All right. How is everyone feeling about me starting to read some more fan fiction, and we dive into the id of a 12, 13-year-old Jesse? So we can start going into that. Also, I hope my drinking isn't bothering anybody. I know sometimes eating sounds can be weird. I didn't like the Danish Girl. It was so incorrect and counterfactual. That is true. I don't love the Danish Girl all that much. I do like Eddie Redmayne as a human being. And yeah, it was interesting because I saw that movie with my family, and they were like, oh, we didn't know it was so hard for you. I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that I don't love. Also, the character in that movie, the trans woman in that movie, she's kind of a jerk. Like, her wife is so understanding throughout that whole time. But, can I turn up the volume? Let me see. Is this better? Let me quick see. How's my volume now? Let me know if this is too loud, too soft. Also, I have background music playing, so if that music needs to go louder or softer, let me know. No one says they didn't like Eddie. I think they just said that they didn't like the Danish Girl, the movie. All right. So let's jump into it. I'm trying to remember where we were at on my last fanfiction reading, if in what we could call the story. Oh, yes. Okay. So we had the mystery box on Vulcan, where the Emperor, the Star Wars Emperor, who leads the Mirror Universe apparently, led an attack on Vulcan, and there was like this mystery box thing that I didn't show apparently, where like the Emperor set up like a strike team, but some sort of mysterious group stopped them and was able to like capture their like the strike team's leader, heavily implied to be Section 31. Again, I'm like making this story sound better than it actually played out. And then the fleet, which is there's Captain James Obeska, who runs the USS Majestic, is part of this fleet run by Admiral Decker and Admiral Riker, running this fleet, which is fighting the Mirror Universe. And there is a traitor on board the Majestic, who is basically like a spy for the Mirror Universe. So that is where we're at story-wise, in case anyone wants to follow. Sorry, there's so many pop-ups popping up. I need to get a pop-up blocker. All right. Okay, so we were at this 3-part. We'll go through all 3 parts today. Alternate Invasion, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Ooh. Sounds very, 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 I don't even know, angsty. So Part 1. The spy lurks somewhere on the ship, and he knows more than he should. Meanwhile, Starfleet prepares to take the offensive in the war. Wahahaha. I wonder if the Decker character is informed by Blade Runner. No, he was just a dude who I was like, yeah, I'm referencing Decker from the original series. Though I did love Blade Runner as a kid. Blade Runner is wonderful. All right. Are we ready, folks? Let me just quick get everything ready, and let's begin. Ooh. I already like the first sentence already. This is gonna be fun. Oh, 12-year-old Jesse was dark, gothic Jesse. Star Trek Mirror Wars, Episode 107, Alternate Invasion, Part 1, by James Earl, because I was known as James at the time. Part 1, October 15th, 2602, Question mark hours. Ooh. A vast expanse of death. That was all the man could see. He was standing on a hill overlooking a valley, and all he could see was death. Gosh. Oh, wonderful. All around him was the destruction of mankind. The man stared into the valley of death before him. I think we get it. He stared into the face of death itself. Really just driving home that this is a valley of death. And I'll walk through, I'm pretty sure I was probably listening, and I'll walk through the valley in the shadow of death. Like, that was probably what I was playing as I was writing this. And before the terror could destroy the man, Commander Blake woke up. His face, and Commander Blake was the guy who led the task force against the Mirror Universe task force against the, like, Vulcan mystery box thing. His face was bleeding in several places. His entire body hurt. If it wasn't for the invisible energy bracelets keeping him in the chair, Blake would have fallen to the floor and would have hoped to knock himself out with the force of his head hitting the ground, just to stop the pain, if only for a little while. Whew! Oh, Mash! Mash? I don't know why I said that, but oh man, that is a fun opening. Good morning, Mr. Turville. Blake Turville. Blake lifted his head just enough, just a little bit, so the bruises in the back of his neck, so the bruises in the back of his next wouldn't attack him with pain. He had endured torture before, for the good of the Emperor, and had learned the one of the most important rules was to keep your mind off the pain, to escape the confines of your body. But here, in this dark room, he had endured more pain that most would never even think of being possible to survive. But here he was. Blake looked into the eyes that had been all he could see most of the time these past few months. Those cold eyes, the eyes Blake knew because he had those exact same eyes. The eyes of a killer. It's his duplicate! Across the man's cheek was a scar in the shape of an X. So, he just got that X-shaped scar. His face was gaunt, but deadly. How did you sleep? Blake spit on the man. Well, that is no way to grate a guest. Blake knew it was coming and prepared for it. The man swung his arm and hit Blake right on the cheek. Blood flew out of Blake's mouth. 1 month. I think I said months earlier, but now I'm saying 1 month and absolutely no information out of you, Blake. My leaders were beginning to think that you were useless to us. In fact, today was going to be the day you died. But I talked them out of it. How do you like that, Blake? You owe me your life now. Huh? How do you like that? Huh? What? What are you gonna do? Huh? The man smiled that evil, twisted smile. Blake saw it all the time on this man. He hated it. And once he got out of here, he would make sure to get rid of that smile once and for all. I owe you nothing. Blake spit again at the man. Now, Blake, you should know better. This time, the hit came out of nowhere. It hit Blake so hard that the chair fell on its side. Blake, lying on the ground, coughed up blood. Yes, I convinced my leaders to let you live. You see, I always get what I want using my abilities of the persuasion class. Definitely rolled a definitely rolled a D20 on his on nat 20 on his persuasion roll. Let's see. You have become a project of mine. By now, my leaders have found a good use for you. I will never help you. Oh, but you will, Blake. You will. Get up, he says to the man tied in a chair. We have to go someplace special for you, Blake. Say goodbye to your home that we graciously let you borrow for the past month. You may never see it again. Oh, I'm sure he has so much nostalgia for his torture chamber room. A few minutes later, Blake was gone. Gone from the planet, gone from the galaxy, gone from the universe. But not gone from existence. Merely gone to another universe. Bom, bom, bom. Oh, believe me, this is very edgy, Galvian. Like, yeah. I was a very dark kid. I was very much inspired by Battlestar Galactica at this time. Like, I'm gonna make Star Trek dark and gritty. Yeah. Part 2, October 15th, 2602, 1320 hours. One never shows all his cards, Captain. You should know that. What do you want? Sent James Obeska. So the ship is in control. The USS Majestic is in control of the spy at this point in the story. So we're jumping back to that. What do you want? Said James Obeska, feeling the anger inside of him boiling. Sarah, standing next to him, butt her hand on his shoulder to comfort him. She knew he never worked well when he was angry. Nothing you can give me, Captain. You know that this ship will be of great service to the Empire. What? You can't take this ship. Wrong, Captain. Just let me show you. James felt a familiar feeling. Even though his back was to the holographic view screen, James had been on starships long enough to know when a ship went to warp, despite Starfleet engineers saying that with the dampeners, no change in speed could be felt. Actually, that's a halfway decent idea. Look at me, writing a decent character development for the captain. Captain, we just went to warp, said Furby Turkal. I think I also called Blake, like, Turval, so I really just could not come up with, like, creative last names. Now standing at his console. You see, Captain, I have all of the power here. Try to stop me and I will destroy life support in certain sections, starting with the most populated areas. Populated sections, excuse me. He is right, Captain. None of the command functions on the bridge are working, said Furby. I'm just imagining, like, Furby! I'm going to assume that that's what that crew member is. It's going to be a Furby. Literally, just imagine a giant Furby standing on the bridge where, like, Ensign Kim would be. James hated this. He was captain. He was supposed to be in control. What do you want? He asked. Why, Captain, all I want you to do is stay where you are. In the crew lounge, Chief Engineer Helfner Burinsky, a hulking Scalarian, stood. His skin was ash white, like all of his kind, and he was very, very tall. He had a deep but friendly voice. His species could hear very well, almost as well as a Vulcan. But right now, all he had to do was listen to the automated message coming in from all over the ship. Is this too much Star Trek? I now have control of your ship. You will stay where you are. All the doors in every section have been shut. All intership transporters are cut off from power. Portable transporters are no longer effective. If you wish to live, stay where you are, and the Empire may have mercy. Anyone who does not obey me will die. I now have control of your ship. You will. The message was on a repeating loop. Helfner didn't like the sound of that. I'm glad. He's like, oh, I wonder if something's happening right now. It sounds like I should be worried after a message like that. I would assume Ferengi have better hearing than Vulcans, but I don't know if that's officially stated. He knew the ship inside and out, and there was only 3 ways that someone could gain control of the ship. One way was to control the bridge. Helfner doubted that because there was more security systems on the bridge than anywhere else. Another way was to gain control of engineering. Helfner would not suspect anyone on his engineering team. He had known these people for too long. But there was another way. Walking through the crowd, he found 2 of his friends, Yukoi Deber, an engineering officer on his team, and Ferril Salder, a security team member. I am so great at the names. Ferril Salder and Yukoi Deber. Just wonderful, wonderful names. He lowered his head so the holographic video camera... I'm just like... It's a holographic video camera. So is the video camera watching them holographic, or is it a camera that videos holographically? Also, why wouldn't they have... I'm just gonna let it go. Which he knew were all over the room, but would not be able to hear or see him. He had to take every precaution. For real, Yukoi, I have a job to do, and you 2 are just the people that can help me. Part 3, October 15th, 2602, 1325 hours. On the USS Unlimited, Admiral Frank Riker, was trying to find out why the Majestic had gone off at warp just minutes after a battle. Where was it headed, Mr. Kellick? Murdal Kellick, the Unlimited's tactical officer, said, I don't know, sir. What do you mean you don't know? What direction was it headed? The moment that ship left the fleet, something happened. I don't know what it was. It just stopped all the sensors. All I know about it was that it came from the Majestic. I hope you're enjoying my voices. Are you telling me that we have nothing, not even visual records? Well, sir, we do have visual records. I could try finding out their heading by those. Well, you better do it now. Oh, I'm seeing the teenager from The Simpsons. Hello, sir. I think that's the best as I can get to that. Part 4, October 15, 2602, 13:30 hours. Admiral Klug stood before most of the Starfleet admirals. Although most were off Earth at the time. Oh, okay, I see what I was trying to say. Although most were off Earth at the time, most of them were here. At least holographically. I think holographically is how I spelt it. Admiral Klug looked around the room. Yes, Klug. Klug is the head Starfleet admiral. He's a Klingon. And he's like the head of like all of Starfleet. For the past month, this is going to be my best Klingon. For the past month, we have been on the defensive, as time and time again, the mirror universe sends more and more ships into our own. Our own what? I don't know, but we'll go with it. We have been unable to figure out how these ships have been getting into our universe, without having to be taken apart and reassembled on this side. Granted, that would only take a few days with today's technology, but according to Captain Aaron Riker's information told us that the ships were able to get through the universe without any trouble. Because that's a sentence. Therefore, we concluded that we must have a new type of technology that we know. They must have a new type of technology they know nothing about. It's interesting, like reading technobabble, like in a Klingon voice. Kind of interesting. Klug sounds like a glue. Kind of true. But a few days ago, engineers on Earth have found out that in a very distorted area of space, the ability to cross over from universe to universe is much easier. If you remember, Captain Riker's ship was destroyed while on a survey mission of an area of space known as the Thorn. This area, it's like, oh, I'm not copying the Briar Patch at all by calling it the Thorn. I wonder how amazing ideas like the Thorn came out of my brain and not copied at all. This area of space was widely explored due to it being a very dangerous area of space. But it is also a very unstable area of space, making it very easy to bring entire ships full of people to our universe. But you may also wonder why that is possible for the... Wow, this is just a long, like, technobabble Klingon speech. But you may also wonder why that it was possible for the mirror universe to come to our own universe. According to theory, there are an infinite number of universes. What connects our universe to theirs? Back in the 23rd century, Captain James Tiberius Kirk and an away team in a freak transporter accident were transported from the planet Halcyon to the mirror universe. Eventually, he and his team made it back to our universe, but the damage was done. Because of this accident, our universes were intertwined. Eventually, several more crossovers, see what I did there? That's the name of an episode from Deep Space Nine, were made by the crew of Deep Space Nine in the 24th century. Further connection our two universes. Because of this connection, it is very easy for both universes to cross over. I'm like, he has like quotes of this. I'm like imagining it's like for both universes to cross over. I am Klug. Hey, Jay London, I finally made it to a live stream. This live stream, I can speak words. It is this ability we plan to use. We suspect that they think we don't know how to cross over. We will use this to our advantage. Starfleet's main goal is none other the complete invasion of Earth. The Mirror Earth. Klug waited a moment and appreciated the amazed stares of everyone in the room. Then he began to outline the plan. Whew, that was a mouthful of a part there. Part 5, October 15th, 2602, 1350 hours. Yes, dun dun dun. Climbing through a very dark access tube, Helfner, Yukoi, and Furil made sure that they made no noise. For Helfer, this was very easy because even though he was very tall, his species was naturally quiet due to their light weights. Below them, almost a mile of dark, empty tunnel lay. Usually the ship's safety systems would... Say that 5 times fast. Anyways, usually the ship's safety systems kept them from falling to their deaths, but because someone had turned them off, one misstep would mean death for any of them. Almost there, said Helfer in the lead. Just above my head is an access panel. I need to see something. Yukoi, hand me your tools. I'm going to change his voice. Yukoi handed Helfer his tools that he always wore on his belt, and were kept there by an invisible field. I just got rid of belts. They're like, you know what? Technology. We're just going to make some weird shield belts. Let's see. A few moments later, Helfer handed down the tools. Just as I thought. Someone has been through here and transferred the bridge controls to a access station in the Jeffries tubes. Let's see, what voice should I do for Yukoi? I'll do my like weird vampire. Oh no, she'll be Christopher Walken. But I thought that you needed the captain's, first officers, and chief engineer's access codes to do that, said Yukoi. I know, and sure as hell don't tell anyone. Wait, so this Helfer was like, I can take control of the bridge whenever I want. Don't tell anyone. Don't worry, we will find out what is going on. Come on, the access station is just a little further away, said Helfer. Let's see. Part 6, October 15th, 2602, 1400 hours. Back on board the Unlimited, Kellic jumped up from his station. Sir, I found their heading. Forward it to the helm and lay in a course, warp 15, said Riker. A few moments later, the ship was hurtling through space after the Majestic. Also, because they're traveling at warp 15, they all transformed into weird lizard monsters, but we're not going to talk about that. Part 7, October 15th, 2602, 1405. Get your weapons out, said Helfner. Just around the corner of the Jeffries tubes was the access station. Helfner heard Furil and Yukoi reading their weapons, not readying, reading their weapons. On my mark. Using his fingers, he put up 3 fingers. He mouthed, 3, 2. Don't want to put down that one. 1. Come out, Mr. Helfner, said a voice down the tube. Oh, come on, I know you are there. Helfner came around the corner, but not before signaling the other 2 to stay quiet. Before him was a small room. It was about as big as 2 turbolifts, but it was filled in the middle by a console about waist high. Across the room, a man stood in the shadows, hiding his face. How did you know I was there? Asked Helfner. I have my ways. Just know that you will die here today, Mr. Helfner. The man leaned forward and showed his face. Across the man's cheek was a scar in the shape of an X. He smiled at Helfer and raised his weapon. It's the guy from the top. See how I brought that out? Because he has the X scar. So it's the same guy. Isn't this exciting? I hope you are all enjoying that. All right, so that is the first episode of Alternate Invasion Part 1. Dun dun dun, as Seal so wonderfully put it. Yeah, I wonder if there's probably a story to explain why we all evolved into lizard things. Oh my gosh, the Gorn, Jay London, that's great. I wanted to write that story. We now weirdly like evolve into Gorn over time, and like the Gorn have been sent back in time to like like evolved humans. It'd be a thing. All right, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone is enjoying. Oh, I actually made these formatted better for once. Look at me. I actually started formatting my website. All right. Star Trek Mirror Wars, episode 108, Alternate Invasion. Part 2, excuse me. James Earl. I hope. Thanks, Try. I'm trying to do my best with the voices. Part 1, October 15th. I should do it as like the voice of the computer, like Major Barrett. Part 1, October 15th, 26:02, 14:10 hours. As the man leveled the weapon at him, Berinsky... Oh no, Berinsky was Helfner's last name. As the man leveled the weapon at him, Berinsky saw that he was going to die. He saw the weapon glow, which meant in a few moments his body would be hit by phaser fire, sending his now burnt corpse to the ground in a heap. Every episode has to start off with like this really like vivid dark death image. It's like Star Trek Picard flashbacks of horrific gruesome things. Let's see. His body would hit the ground, his burnt corpse to the ground, if the phaser didn't vaporize his body first. But Berinsky knew that he couldn't let that happen, and he would not let that happen. He closed his eyes and heard just the internal thrum of his body, letting all external noises go unheard. Oh, he's gonna power up. And just as suddenly, his eyes were open and time seemed to slow. So I'm giving him a special... Basically, this dude's gonna become Quicksilver. So basically, Helfner is Quicksilver, is basically what I'm about to learn here. Time, he knew, had not really slowed, but his species had a special ability. The ability to give his body a sort of adrenaline rush, giving his body a faster pace. He knew he only had seconds, but in the time, he was able to duck underneath the incoming beam of phaser fire. And then, as he moved out of the way and the beam hit the wall, vaporizing it a part of the bulkhead, time returned to its normal pace, and all hell broke loose. It's over 9,000, as Wellington Smith put it. Where was I? Now, yelled Berinsky as his body hit the floor. Let your body hit the floor. Your body. Flown back by the destruction of the wall. Behind him, he heard Yukoi and Farrell rush out of the Jeffries tubes, fire at the man. But the man, although surprised by the attack, managed to dodge out of the way. As the man turned to fire back, he missed and hit the console that he had been using. Suddenly, the room exploded in fire and sparks flew everywhere. And maybe some rocks, because all Starfleet ships are filled with rocks. Berinsky was only conscious long enough to see both his friends fall to the ground and watch as the man disappeared down another tube. And then it seemed as if the universe collapsed upon itself and all was black. Part 2, October 15th, 26:02, 14:15 hours. Frank Riker was almost there. On the forward view screen, he saw the Majestic hanging in space as if the ship itself had died, leaving its crew stranded. Over the past month, he, Decker, and James had gotten to know each other very well. He knew James to be a loyal and determined officer. So why had James decided to leave the fleet? We're almost there, sir, said one of the bridge officers, standing behind Frank. Prepare the tractor beam, said Frank, only half listening. All my characters, are half listening and, lost in thought almost all the time. Frank knew something was wrong. He just hoped it wasn't too late to stop it. Part 3, October 15th, 26:02, 14:15 hours. Admiral Klug watched from his window in his quarters on the USS Regal, watching the different gases of the Thorn moved about. On the other side of the ship, out of his view, dozens of ships sat waiting. In a few days, that number would increase as Starfleet prepared for the attack. This, he knew, was the final blow of the war. Oh, he knows. He knows it's the final blow. I hope not, considering I have 10 more episodes that I wrote of this thing. Yeah, all my characters have ADHD. Writing from experience. Where was I? Speaking of which, this he knew was the final blow of the war. After a month of fighting, Starfleet was going to win. Part 4, October 15th, 2602, 14:16 hours. Borinsky opened his eyes. It had only been a few seconds, he could tell. The console in front of him still showed sparks everywhere. In a few more seconds, the ship's automatic systems would shut down all power going into the console, fix the problem, and then reactivate the console in a matter of minutes. But Borinsky didn't have the time to sit and wait. He knew that the man would not come back to this area. It was too risky, which left him one choice. To follow the man inside the inside of a very big ship. It's a very, very, very big ship. Pausing only to make sure his friends were alive, and apparently not calling for medical help or telling anybody that he knows where the traitor is, apparently. Pausing only to make sure his friends were alive, he left, continuing down the tube that he had seen the man enter. Suddenly, up ahead, he could hear heavy breathing. Around the bend, the man crawled, and Borinsky followed, suddenly realizing where the man was going. Again, not telling anybody. Borinsky cautiously continued, staying out of sight as the man headed for the shuttle bay. Part 5, October 15th, 2602, 14:20 hours. James was thinking 1,000 miles a second, but nothing came to him. My captain is pretty useless. He's done, almost nothing in the past, all the episodes that he's appeared in. I really love that he's a great character. At least, you could at least say that, I named the captain after myself because I was James at the time, but at least I didn't, Mary Sue him or Gary Stu or whatever the, guy version of him was. He felt Sarah coming up behind him and saying, "There is nothing we can do." Turning to her, he said, But it's my ship. No one should be able to take it from me." "I know, James, but there is nowhere to do." I love all these spelling mistakes. "I know, James, but there is nowhere to do. The phaser dampening field prevents us from," Sarah started to say before she could finish, the consoles lit up and the lights came on. The power was back. Before anyone could react, a voice came through the con. Let's see. I haven't done... What did I do for Yukoi? I forgot what I did for Yukoi. I should probably do something weird. Oh, yeah, I know it. "Captain, this is Yukoi. Borinsky, for real, and I found out where the spy is hiding. I don't know why I'm doing the arm thing just to do this voice, but it's very, very part of it. We engaged him, but he got away. For real and I were knocked unconscious, but Borinsky must have chased after the man. I just got power back on for you, but For real is in need of medical attention down here." Part 6, October 15th, 2602, 14:23. After this turn, the tube went straight down, Borinsky knew. It wasn't a big drop, just a few meters, but it was all he needed. See, even my ships had, cavernous spaces even before Discovery, so come on. Or Kelvin timeline, so that was my idea. I take credit. It was me. Let's see. Borinsky turned around the corner just in time to see the man going down the ladder on the side of the shaft. Before the man's head could disappear down the shaft, Borinsky brought his foot up and slammed it into his face. Whew! The sound of something cracking inside the man's skull was a welcome sound. This is Star Trek. The sound of something cracking inside the man's skull was a welcome sound. That's truly the spirit of Roddenberry's future. The man's blood went everywhere as he fell down the shaft, startled by the sudden attack. But unfortunately for Borinsky, the man was well trained. The man was not stunned for long. The man stood up and aimed his phaser up the shaft. He misses, I'm changing, tenses here. He misses as Borinsky dodged to the left, almost falling down the shaft himself. He watched as the man ducked into the next tube at the bottom of the ladder and out of sight. Borinsky jumped down from the top of the shaft, landing hard on his feet. He broke his brain? Probably. A burst of pain shot through his legs, but he ignored it as he followed the man. It wasn't hard to follow the man, and he left a trail of blood behind him. Just ahead, Borinsky could see the tubes open into the corridor just outside the shuttle bay. He crawled out of the tubes and followed the rail of blood down the corridor. Just as he turned down another corridor, he was attacked. And it was then that the Fire Nation attacked. A fist came up to hit Borinsky in the face, but the man misjudged Borinsky's full height and only managed to hit just below Borinsky's neck. Ooh, so like right here. Ooh, that must have, like right in the solar plexus. Let's see. Borinsky stumbled back, but more stunned than hurt. Borinsky rushed toward the man, sending a kick up towards the man's jaw, just like kicking his jaw? Whew. Wow, this is a very, very tall man. An attempt to hurt an already weak spot. Just like compounding that like brain fracture. But the man jumped to the side, leaving Borinsky open for attack. Another hit Borinsky in the stomach, but this time Borinsky was prepared and immediately went back on the offensive. As the fight, who knew that like a chief engineer would be so good at fighting? As the fight continued, the man started to talk. "I haven't had this much fun in a long time," said the man, dodging a fist. "I must thank you." Borinsky ignored the comment and hit the man's chin, and the man fell to the floor. Again, blood gushed from the prior wound. The dude's really cocky for someone who's like failing. But before Borinsky could get off another hit, the man took his weapon that had fallen to the floor during the fight. This time, Borinsky was too slow, and as he dodged out of the way, the shot grazed his side, sending him falling to the ground. And for the second time, the world started to go black. But Borinsky fought it. He could barely see as the man ran down the corridor and into the door that led to the shuttle bay. Borinsky used all of strength. Borinsky used all of strength, like not just all of his strength, all strength, like every piece of strength in the universe he is using right now. Stood up and grabbed his own fallen weapon and ran for the shuttle bay. "Step away from the shuttle," said Borinsky as he leveled his phaser at the man. The man stood inside the threshold of the shuttle. Borinsky knew that if the man got into that shuttle, he could leave at warp 13, and the Majestic would be unable to respond in time. Not in this condition, at least, with sensors still offline. Why didn't the man just shoot Borinsky? Shh. This is my story. I get to tell it Wellington the way that I want, and he doesn't kill him. Sorry, Mr. Borinsky. It's too late to stop me now, but we will meet again, I assure you. And before Borinsky could react, the man jumped into the shuttle, just as the force field in front of the bay collapsed, sending... Why it collapsed? No one knows. Sending every molecule of air out into the vacuum of space in seconds. Borinsky could hold his breath long enough to survive the vacuum for a few moments, long enough for the automatic shuttle bay doors to close. He grabbed a nearby beam in the wall to prevent himself from flying into the infinite void of space as he watched the shuttle leave the way. Leave the way, not the bay. Leave the way. I want Jesse to trip up and say, Borinsky. It was too late to stop the man, and as he felt the air coming back into his lungs and his world start to collapse for the third and final time that day, he felt the pang of failure and made a promise that if he met this man again, it would be for the final time. So straight up, I very clearly just made my chief engineers like, I'm gonna murder this man. I am gonna straight up murder this strange ex-Scarface dude. Part 7, October 5th, 2602, 1430. Frank Riker felt relief as he watched the Majestic slowly move closer by the tractor beam. Don't know what that means, but alright. After an hour of going after the ship, it was finally over. It looks like some internal explosions took place. For the moment, Majestic's impulse, shields, and sensor systems are offline, said Kellic, the ship's tactical officer. What the hell happened over there? Asked Frank, to no one in particular. And then, as if answering, Kellic said, it's not as if answering, he's answering, we are being hailed, sir. Frank, surprised, said, patch it through. In front of Frank, a holographic image of James appeared before him, a cut on his cheek. And again, I will remind you, holographic, communication. I did it here. In my fan fiction before Discovery, so. Just saying. Maybe I should come up with my own lawsuit. Just saying. Sorry, is that too real? Let's see. Where was I? Sorry, I lost where I was. What happened, James? Said Frank. Our ship was taken over, said James bluntly. What? Said Frank in confusion, like just really over-escalating. Frank, I just got a message from my chief engineer. Did you detect a shuttle leaving the Majestic a few moments ago? Frank turned to Kellic and said, Did we? Kellic looked at his console and then at Riker. We did, sir! I love that, like, this Kellic guy just, like, did not say anything. Oh, apparently Riker's about to get angry about it. Then why wasn't I informed, said Riker, almost angrily. One of the explosions on the Majestic released some plasma, masking the shuttle for a few moments, giving it enough time to warp away. It was only on sensors for less than a second. James bluntly. James, Frank, and Decker sat around the Unlimited's conference room? Yeah, I spelled that right. How the heck did a spy get on the ship? Said Decker in disbelief. I don't know, but he have to find out. Not we. I don't know, but he have to find out. All of Starfleet could be in danger of the same attack. Before the conversation could continue, Riker spoke. Captain, I know this is hard to do, but the fleet has to go to a region of space called the Thorn. What? Why? Asked James. We just got word. Starfleet is planning an attack on the alternate universe from the inside. In fact, the plan is to attack Earth itself. He's going to straight up murder that mirror Earth. Why the Thorn? Isn't that where the Enterprise was destroyed? Yes, according to research, this area of space is so unstable it makes it possible to cross over to the other universe and come to this universe. Part 9, October 16th, 2602, 1200 hours. Frank and Decker stood on the bridge as the first fleet went out of warp. Immediately, a message came in from the temporary Starfleet HQ in the Thorn. In front of Riker appeared the image of an Andorian in a commander's uniform. Glad to see you, Frank, said Commander Shrar. That's actually a halfway decent Andorian name, Shrar. It's not at all a copy of Shran at all, but it's definitely its own independent name that is not copied from anywhere. God to see you too, old friend, said Frank. Starfleet has informed me that the first fleet will be the attack's lead fleet. You are to go to the coordinates. Tactical information will be sent shortly, said Shrar. We are to leave today at 13 hours. I suggest you be ready. We will be. Hope to see you on the battlefield. Same here, said Shrar. Hi, look at me, I'm Shrar, said Shrar with a smile, just as his holographic image disappeared. I don't know why I'm speaking like I'm in the 1920s, but that's how I'm going to say the last little bit of this episode, so everyone deal with that. It's like a radio serial. You're like watching Superman, the radio show. Part 10, October 16th, 2602, 1300 hours. Inside the gaseous Thorn, the fleet stood still, as if waiting for something to happen. A small ship moved out of formation and took place in front of the fleet. A beam of light shot out from the ship, ending a few meters in front of the ship, as if something unseen blocked its path. And then the impossible happened. It seemed as if the ship itself was being torn apart. The rip expanded until after only a few minutes it was large enough to fit the entire fleet. A impossible portal now stood open to an impossible universe, allowing entrance to all who dare enter it. On the Unlimited, Decker stood up. Open a channel to the ship. Kellic responded after a few seconds. Opening channel open, sir. This is Admiral Decker. You are about to enter a new universe. Anything can happen. Over the past month, you all have proven what you are made of. You have faced death and destruction, all of you, and you watched it with not only courage, but with determination to stop it. What you do today will always be remembered, and for right now, we face the hardest part, the choice to continue. What we will face when we start to fight will pale in comparison to what you do right now as you choose to enter the unknown. You go forward for the dead, for the living, for everything that has been threatened. And I know that will carry us through anything. And with that, Kellic closed the channel as Decker gave him a nod. And then Decker looked at the helmsman and said, Well, you heard me. Let's enter the unknown. Bum, bum, bum. Oh. All right. I think I'm going to do one more before we keep going, but I want to quick catch up on the chat because I've missed a few things going on in the chat there. So let me just quick make sure. Okay. So I just want to quick catch up. How's everyone doing? How's everyone enjoying it? I hope it's all going well for everybody. The Unlimited sounds like a ship from Wicked crossover. Alphabet's the captain. Yes, I love that. Thorn instead of the Briar Patch, lol. Shran's cousin. Yeah, Shrar is Shran's cousin. Lol, I love the transatlantic accent. I hope you do. It's been fun. This is a voice for radio. Patrick Stewart in tap dance shoes. Engage with the tap dance. I can't do a Patrick Stewart. I'm enjoying this while at work, so it is all good. I hope you're enjoying it. Good, I'm glad. Oh my god, Jesse, I realized that one voice sounds like Gomer Pyle. How does Gomer Pyle sound like? It's been a while since I've seen that movie. Or TV show. What is Gomer Pyle from? Because I recognize that name. Pyle. Sorry, I'm just quickly looking up. Oh, yeah. The guy from the Andy Griffith Show. I do remember that. Oh, he just passed away. Oh, that's very sad. Well, that was a bit of sad news. My apologies. So that's a sad thing. I hope I didn't just surprise you, Wellington. Okay. Well, we'll just avoid that because I'm trying to keep it all fairly positive. So, Star Trek Mirror Wars Alternate Invasion Part 3 by James Earl. Does everyone, quick question for the chat. Does everyone want me to keep using the like, hello, this is the voice for radio, or would you prefer to have me do like a normal voice if for just like the text parts? Mirror War, Star Trek Mirror Wars. It's just mirror. They're Mirror Wars. They're not mirror. They're just mirror. Well, unless someone has a different reaction, I'm gonna go with Jay London. I'm gonna go with your suggestion. Just keep doing do the radio voice. Part 1, October 16, 2602, 1310 hours. In a remote part of space, a small ship holds open an impossible portal to a seemingly impossible reality. A reality of infinite possibilities, just as our own. Far away, a few hundred ships traveling 1 billion kilometers per second at what the people inhabiting the ships called Warp 15 are preparing for battle. Some people on those ships know that they will probably die. Others just prepare and don't think of what could happen, while others think of family, friends, and everyone back on their home planets. But each and every one of them knew that they were heading into a battle that would save all of those people, or would be one of the reasons that they might die. Part 2, October 16th, 2602, 13:15 hours. Captain James Obeska looked out from the front view screen. Even as he watched the stars fly past, he felt the tension all over the ship. It was his connection to the crew. Even at Warp 15, the fleet wouldn't reach the mirror Earth until 0 to 100 hours the next day. I love how I have like this weird obsession with like military time in these stories. Like I use military time a ton. It always comes up. I was like, it's like I had just figured out how military time works. And so it was like, I'm going to use it all the time because it's like Starfleet. Until then, all ships were to get into battle readiness. During that time, all ships were cloaked, because apparently Starfleet has cloaks. Up until, oh, well, cool, I actually explained that right here. Up until recently, I love how I anticipate my failings as a writer, and sometimes I surprise myself and remember that I actually did it. Up until recently, Starfleet's treaty with the Romulan Empire prevented them from using cloaks. This was, of course, before the Star Trek 2009 came out. But ever since the Romulan crisis, oh, hey, look at this. Maybe this was the Romulan crisis 3 years ago. Well, I don't know. Maybe Star Trek 2009 stole from me the Romulan crisis. But ever since the Romulan crisis 3 years ago, Starfleet was at war with the Romulan Empire. So they're at war with the Mirror Universe and at war with the Romulan Empire. All right, we're just gonna roll with that. I keep anticipating and I keep explaining. No real battles ever took place in the war, but even so, the Romulan Empire started to crumble. Because they just sucked for some reason. Now, all of that was left of the Empire was a few planets barely under the control of their capital planet, Romulus. James Obeska chuckled a little bit. Yes, I love thinking of the destruction of Romulan culture. He really didn't know why. He guessed it was because of how he had let his mind wander into one of the first battles he had ever been in. The day of the Romulan crisis was one of the worst days of his life. He remembered all the people who died that day. Why are you chuckling? I'm sorry, that just makes me laugh. I'm like, why is he like laughing? It's like, I'm remembering the worst day of my life, where all those people died. What a funny story. I don't know why that's the thing that just made me laugh, but it was just ridiculous. Oh, I don't know why. That's really funny. Oh, okay. Acting. And how many more of this ship will die tomorrow? And how many... I'm sorry. I know it's still funny. I know I'm sure no one out there. I'm reading your comments. I'm sorry that I'm laughing so much. I don't know. For some reason, it just got to me. Whew. Okay. Okay. He looked around the bridge, looked closely at the faces, as if he might never see them again. Jake Demari at the science station looked over the ship's specs. Henry Tellar at the helm, plotting a course towards the Mirror Earth. I love how we're, like, getting all these characters that I have, like, not developed at all. And, like, oh, it's supposed to be this big emotional moment with these characters that I don't know. Don't know why I do some weird voices as I talk. Furby Turkal at the tactical station looked over at the weapon system. Helfner Berinsky at the engineering console, looking over the impulse engines, making sure they had maximum maneuverability. Finally, he looked at Sarah, sitting next to him. She didn't notice that he was looking at her, because he's being a creep. He thought of how they met on the first day of the academy. He was lost, looking for the astronomy classroom, trying to find his pad that contained a map, but had been misplaced. He was turning a corridor when he ran into someone. They had both fallen to the ground, and after a few seconds, they stood up and looked at each other. Sorry about that. I should have been paying more attention, said James. That's okay. Don't sweat it, said the other student, who turned out to be a girl. I'm glad he's just assuming gender. Come on, James. Get with the program. Did you drop anything? No. Oh, good. My name's James, by the way. This is a really cute meeting. You know, running into each other, sharing names, said James as he stuck out his hand in greeting. She grabbed it and shook. Mine is Sarah. James smiled at Sarah as he remembered that day. He knew that whatever unknown lay ahead of him, he would face it with Sarah. He would always face it with Sarah. She smiled back at him, saw him smiling, and smiled back. I wonder if anything bad's gonna happen to Sarah later on. Just see it being I'm setting him up to just knock him down. Part 3, October 16th, 2602, hours. Blake Turville was blindfolded, but for the past day, he had heard the familiar hum of a shuttlecraft. He had been locked in a small room devoid of any technology, save for a food replicator, which automatically sent him food 3 times a day. There was a small bed, which his hands were tied to, and he had been laying on it for the past day. I don't know how he's able to use the replicator, but there you go. After he had been taken from the room he had been in for so long, he was blindfolded and transported to this room on the shuttlecraft. Since then, he had felt the ship enter warp. Suddenly, he heard the familiar hiss of the door opening. The voice of the man accompanied it. I have deactivated the restraints tying you to your bed. Come with me. So I wonder if this is the same man from before? What color shirt is she wearing? I have no idea what color shirt was she wearing. Probably red for command. Let's see. If he was tied to the bed, I don't know how he deactivated the restraints, but there we go. He stood up off the bed. He judged where the voice had come from. Then, with all his strength, he lunged at the area and hit nothing. He fell to the ground. You didn't expect me to actually be there, did you? I was talking to you through a speaker. You stupid idiot. Can't even figure out when I was there. Coward, said Blake. Now, Blake, you can remove your blindfold. Continue down the corridor and enter the first door on your right. Be warned, do not do exactly as I have said, and you will die. Where am I going? Why, Blake, you are going home. But you have something to do for us first. Part 4, October 17th, 2602, 0130 hours. Half an hour until we reach the other Earth, thought James. As he sat on the bridge, he took one last look at everyone, just as he had done the day before, making sure that he remembered every face, every feature of that person. I'm glad I'm retelling the same exact scene. Finally, the time was near. He stood up from his chair. He heard Sarah tense behind him. He knew that all over the fleet, all the captains and admirals were giving a speech to their crew, inspiring them, readying them for the upcoming battle. Now it was his turn. He waved towards Furby to open a ship-wide channel. This is the captain speaking. It has been an honor to work with each and every one. I'm just good with all these speeches. It has been an honor to work with each and every one of you. For the past day, you have worked non-stop to get ready for a battle that you know is one of the most important challenge you will face in your lives. For the past day, I found myself looking at the faces of everyone, seeing all the men and women and non-binary people. James, come on. I stand by. Look around you. Look at the person standing next to you. All of you fight to save your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters. You fight for your families and friends. Today, each one of you is ready to give your life for your friends, families, and the person standing next to you, to give them a better life. We all stand here together, and I say this. It is you who are the heroes, the ones who stand up and say no. There is nowhere I would rather be than right here, standing with each one of you, heading into the unknown, and ready to face it. Remember everyone who is here today. Remember the sacrifices you all made, and remember the sacrifices that you are about to make. Remember the things that you haven't done yet. He paused for a moment to let it sink in, then began to speak again. Oh, God. All of you were brought out here to save freedom. No, let us stand together and fight for that freedom. Captain, out. As he finished his speech, I quite literally wrote this. I know some of you were Mackenzie, I know you joked it, but as he finished his speech, a tear fell from his cheek. A single tear just fell. It was beautiful. It was truly beautiful. We're here to fight for freedom. Oh boy. Ah. Part 5, October 17th, 2602, 0145 hours. Oh, we're getting the Emperor. I'm so excited. The Emperor stood on the bridge of his new ship, the ISS Fierce. He had been waiting. It's just like my Mirror Universe is just like the the edgy emo kids like, we're so fierce, the USS Fierce. He had been waiting for the past few days on the Fierce, impatient for his waiting to end. What time is it? He asked. 0145 hours, Emperor, said the tactical officer, a tall, strong man in his 40s. Oh, look at me giving hints that I might be LGBTQ as a little kid. And God, we should do a psychoanalysis of all these stories. It would be fascinating. But yeah, you can definitely read my I'm attracted to men but don't know where to put that feeling at this time. They will be here soon. He began to wait again, but he didn't have long to wait. Emperor, the Starfleet ships are exiting warp in front of Earth, said the tactical officer. Right on time, said the Emperor. Bring all weapons to bear on the lead ship. The waiting was finished. The waiting was finished. The battle had begun. Part 6, October 17th, 2602, 0200 hours. The bridge was on fire, literally and figuratively. I don't know, it's on fire. Only a few minutes ago, the fleet, still with all ships with cloaks on, had prepared to exit warp at Earth. Starfleet's plan was to keep the fleets under cloak while they attack, so that even though the ships would be detected, as the Mirror Universe ships had proven they could, it would be harder for them to be hit. But somehow, the Mirror Universe knew they were coming. The moment the fleet exited warp, they were fired upon by 60 or so ships, a fleet that rivaled their own. How did they know, thought James, as he stood up and gave orders to the crew. He stood behind Henry's, whose console was only a few meters in front of James's chair. Henry, give us a clear shot on that ship at coordinates 56.43 Mark 32. Furby, fire Ilium torpedoes, full spread, said James. James' heart skipped a beat as he realized what ship he was firing on. As he looked on the view screen, he saw the ship's registry, NCC 5603, ISS Majestic. For all I know, I am firing at my mirror image. Yes. Yes, you are, James. James sat back down in his chair, knowing he was in for the long haul. Part 7, October 17th, 2602, 0300 hours. 1 hour later, the USS Majestic was losing, and the rest of the fleet was losing the battle. James was sweating from the tension and the heat in the room, caused by the sparks that the computer's repair program had yet to repair. Its power was needed elsewhere. How are the shields, Furby? At 20, no, 18%, sir. Oh, no, how do I do like a Furby voice? At 20, no, 18%, sir. Dried blood literally littered Furby's forehead, but he worked through it. Henry, bring us to bear on that lead ship. Furby, more torpedoes. Just fire all those torpedoes. Just as the torpedoes were about to fire, a phaser coming out of the lead ship hit the torpedo bay, stopping the attack. What happened? Asked James. The torpedo bay was hit. We can't fire. Why didn't the computer fix it? I'm mixing up all my voices now. The damage is too big, said Furby. Then send an engineering team or a repair droid. I had repair droids in Star Trek. There's your Dot. I did Dot from Ephraim and Dot before this. Again, look at Discovery. Just straight up copying my fan fiction. It's like they got a copy of it and we're just like, let's make this a show. Right down to the Mirror Universe doing stuff. Come on, Kurtzman. Fight me. Oh, boy. Let's see. I can't, sir. Engineering is working hard just to keep life support up, and the droid bay was destroyed 30 minutes ago. Someone needs to go down there. I will go, said James. Seems like, yeah, screw it. I'm not needed on the bridge. No, I will, said a voice behind James. James looked behind him, but already knew who it was. Sarah. Oh, she's going to get blown up by a torpedo, just like in the Discovery finale. Look at it's straight up stealing from me. Come on. I wonder if anything bad is going to happen to Sarah. You can't. She stared at him with blue eyes. Yes, I can, and I can do a better job than you, James. Let me go. He stood reluctantly and also the husband and wife, first officer captain team. That's straight up the Orville. So, Seth MacFarlane's taken from me too, by the way. Just should mention that. He stood reluctantly for a few seconds, but as the ship shook from another attack, he knew he had no time to argue. Go and be quick. Sarah was already on the turbolift. Part 8, October 17th, 2602, 0315 hours. Sarah ran down the corridor towards the torpedo bay, but before she got there, she felt the heat from the fires. Grabbing her phaser from her belt, she reprogrammed it as a fire extinguisher. They've got fire extinguisher phasers, apparently, which actually would be extremely useful, to be honest with you. Though I think unnecessary, because I feel like the ship should be able to do that. She aimed at the fires, and they disappeared. She jumped over the falling support beam and ran into the huge torpedo bay room. She ran to the consoles and worked as hard as she could. A few minutes later, she laughed as she saw that the weapons were back online. She sat down against the wall only for a few seconds as she was needed on the bridge. And then she saw it. A torpedo fallen out of the launch tube with a support beam inside of it. Straight up Discovery Season 2 finale. Just right here. She knew that since it hadn't already gone off, it would go off soon. She had to get it out of the torpedo bay, or else it might set off the other torpedoes. And now I'm using there as in like, it's their ship. So just screwed up all my theirs. And there might not be any ship left after that. She raced over to it and pulled to support beam out of the torpedo. How it had happened, she didn't know. I would presume, Sarah, it had probably something to do with the fact that you're in a battle right now, and that's how that support beam got there. Torpedoes have shields on them. How did this happen? She said as she pulled on the torpedo towards the door. Soon she had it in the corridor. So she's just straight up dragging a torpedo around the ship. Let's see. She had it in the corridor, only a few feet until she reached a safe distance from the bay. So she's like taking it out of the torpedo bay and just like dragging this torpedo through the ship. Soon she had it in the corridor. She finally reached the section. She stood over the torpedo and tried to deactivate the torpedo. She realized that all she could do was lower how much ilium could be used to explode the torpedo. At least that is something. Only this corridor will be destroyed, she thought. That's a really crappy torpedo. Let's see. At least then she ran, and as she ran, she talked to the computer. Computer, raise shields 54, 55, 56, but she never finished her sentence. Part 9, October 17, 2602, 0330 hours. Back on the bridge, Henry was working double time as he maneuvered the ship so to bring it out of the main line of fire. Furby shouted, "The weapons are back online, sir. We are also getting a message from the USS Unlimited. It's a retreat order." James hated what he needed to do. "Bring us out of the battle and head back to the Thor in Warp 15. Go, Henry." A few minutes later, as the ship was hurtling away from the mere Earth, James was worried. Sarah should be back on the bridge by now. He was about to get on the turbolift himself when a signal from Chief Medical Officer Sally Zerny's voice came over his comm badge. "Captain, I think you'll need to get down here." Wait, I need to do a weird voice. What's a weird voice? Someone give me a voice in the chat. How do you want Zerny's voice to sound like? Waiting. I mean, give me a really terrible impression that I could do. Anybody? I'll just pick one. Who should I pick? Let's see. I'm like looking at my toys to see if there's anyone like nerd voice. French. Oh, okay. French. "Captain, I think you'll need to get down here. Sarah's been hurt. We have to." Sorry, this is terrible. "But we have to butt her into stasis. Captain, she may not survive." Part 10, October 17, 2602, 0400 hours. The Emperor watched as the few remained Starfleet ships fled from Earth. He knew that most left at Warp 15, and even if he sent ships after them, they would never be able to catch up with them. "Send 5 warships after them, and tell them to report when they re-enter their own universe." "Yes, Emperor," said Commander Verher. Verher had been one of the soldiers that had failed on Vulcan's surface 1 month ago. The Emperor was so angry about the failures that their tortures were server. The tortures were server. But they had not been punished in rank or stature because he is a benevolent leader. No, that punishment lied with Commander Blake Turville. "My liege, we are receiving a hail from, well, nowhere." "Put it through to my room. I have been expecting it." A few minutes later, the Emperor was on the screen in his room. On the screen appeared the face of a man with an X-shaped scar on his cheek. "The plan worked perfectly." "The plan worked, Emperor?" asked the man. It did, old friend," said the Emperor. The Emperor had known the man for many years. Up until recently, he had been a spy on the mere counterpart of the very ship the Emperor was now was known was no not no aboard the USS Majestic. I assume then that my information was useful. It was. Is this line secure? Naturally. No one can detect this message nor be able to hear what we are saying. Good. I have a plan. I have a plan for you to start. It will involve another infiltration. Will it have any rewards? If you succeed, it may mean the end to the war, with us as the victors, and all else who oppose us will be dead. The man smiled. Tell me more. And that is where we will leave it off for now with this week's reading of my old Star Trek fanfiction, Star Trek Mirror Wars. So I'm going to hang out for a little bit, for like another 10 minutes. I have to go make dinner in just a little while, so we'll hang out just for a little while, hang out with the chat and talk to everybody and see how everyone's doing. If you could shoehorn in a Morgan Freeman voice or a Sarah Palin one. I don't know if I could do a Sarah Palin voice, but I could maybe do hello, this is Morgan Freeman. I would like to talk with this very slow, sonorous voice. I narrate your entire life as you sit here listening to my voice, the voice of Morgan Freeman. So that's my Morgan Freeman impression. Actually, not that bad. I would assume. Mackenzie, how is dinner is almost ready here? How did dinner go? Did it go really well? I hope you didn't burn it. I hope the lamb came out tasting nice. Peter James Normandin, what's that red drink? This red drink is actually just fruit punch. It's like I think it's Crystal Light, like Gatorade sort of stuff. Normally I drink wine, but it's a little bit early and it's on a Wednesday here, so I can get a little bit drunk as I read this. But I would prefer not to today. Just attempt all of the Gargoyles voices. It's been a little bit since I've actually watched Gargoyles. I'd have to go back and re-listen to them. Tune in next week to hear Furby say, "Are we about to die?" Wellington. Let's see. Some random. Have you brush up on your Shakespeare? I haven't done Shakespeare in a while, but I used to do Shakespeare in when I was in high school. I did Shakespeare quite a bit. I was part of like a Shakespeare group in my college. Let's see what's something I can remember from Shakespeare. Now, alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well, Horatio. That's the one that everyone knows. Or basically Shinzon. In the Park. No, it wasn't Shakespeare in the Park. It was like it was actually a very cool like community production. It was in Batavia, New York, which is where I grew up, or one of the places I grew up because my parents are divorced. But they were a really cool theater group, and we did. What did we do? One of my favorites ones was we actually did the Comedy of Errors, but set it in feudal Japan, like Kabuki theater, which, I mean, you know, thinking back on it, it's a bit problematic with a bunch of like white, like Western New Yorkers doing Kabuki theater, but it was a lot of fun to do that, and they actually had a really beautiful set for it. It was a very cool theater company, and we did Richard III, but as like punk. So like I played like one of the people that gets killed when Richard III's like betrayers. I had to wear like all these like spiked and like have spiked hair. It was a lot of fun. I quite enjoyed that. Two households, both alike, in fair Verona. Getting some Shakespeare in there. I wish they would do. I know they have those books of like Star Wars as if written by but written in Shakespearean mode. That would be a lot of fun if they did that for Star Trek, because Star Trek's already pretty Shakespearean, to be honest. So is Star Wars, to be honest. But Shinzon seriously comes across like Tom Hardy accidentally started Richard O'Brien instead of Patrick Stewart, so the results are basically riff-raff rather than Picard. That's very, very true. Poor Tom Hardy in that movie. I mean, I love Tom Hardy, especially nowadays, but that movie is, I mean, it's not really his fault, but it's just like kind of upsetting. And honestly, that as much as I like Tom Hardy, it should have been Patrick Stewart playing Shinzon. Not that it would have saved the movie. It would have been more fun, I think, probably, if you had Patrick Stewart playing against Patrick Stewart. But sadly, they did not go that route. You ought to remain here, in spirit anyway. But you are very correct, Seal. Oh, wow, I probably need some more water. I'm getting kind of tired. I might. Nemesis did have some good moments. I mean, I did a whole video review of it. If you want to go check out my video review of Nemesis, I'm thinking of doing another one of those for Star Trek 2009 as well. Once I have some time to actually write all of that. But yeah, sorry, I'm just getting a bit tired. My apologies. I might end the stream a little bit. Just doing all the voices kind of tired me out, and it's been a long day already. There were all girls in my senior year of high school theater. We did a production of The Taming of the Shrew. I was Petruchio. I didn't have nearly the confidence to pull off that role. I'm sure you probably did just fine. And also, like, that's part of what like theater is in high school, you know, like building confidence. I mean, sure, there's like some theater kids who are like, naturally, I am made for the stage, but being on stage is all about like learning to be on the stage at that point. And like not all of us can go to Juilliard. They steal our DNA and we fall back. The line must be drawn here. And I will make them pay for what they've done. My drama teacher thought of doing Taming of the Shrew, but she thought it because she hated the play. I never actually read Taming of the Shrew. I've read a few Shakespeare plays, especially since, I have an English minor from college, but I never actually read a lot of Shakespeare, which is, it's probably sad, but probably should do more. Wim Dizzle Bizzle, night, everyone. Night to you as well. Thank you for joining us. I hope you had a lot of fun. And I think with that, I might actually bid you all adieu as well, because I am getting, like I said, I'm getting kind of tired, and I probably just need to get some food in my stomach and get ready for bed. To do some promotion, this week on Friday, I am going to be doing my normal Friday video is going up. This one is a bit more. Well, we'll see how this video goes over. It's actually going to be one of my most directly political videos that I've ever done. So I'm excited to see how it goes over. It might do really well, it might do really poorly, but it's definitely me venting a lot of my frustration at current political events going on in the world, and using Star Trek to do that as always. So I'm excited to share that video with all of you Friday. So please, please, please check that out. Otherwise, I'll be doing another one of these live streams next week, probably finishing up this fan fiction reading. I'm also trying to put together some sort of game to play to like involve the audience more. So I'm trying to figure out if anyone has ideas for like games to play with like on a live stream that like everyone can actually be involved in, I would really be appreciative. And some random thank you so much for your love of my Half-Life 2 video. I was really, really proud of it. It was one of my favorite videos I ever did. And yeah, I'm sad that it didn't do as well as it could have. But you know what? I'm just happy to do it. Jackbox Mackenzie Fleetwood said, I think I might be doing Jackbox. I actually have it. My PlayStation's right here, and I do have Jackbox Party Pack 3 on it. So it's, I might be doing Jackbox. I just want to make sure that it works. So I need to do a test of it. But if that might be what I play, so we can all like play a game together and have some fun and sort of get you guys involved in the stuff that I'm doing here. All right, and thank you, Seal. I'm glad that you enjoyed the Half-Life video too. It's like I said, it was one of the ones that I'm most proud of. So I'm really very proud of it. So if any of you haven't seen my Half-Life video out there, I'd really recommend it. All right, everybody, that's going to be it for this stream. Thank you all for joining. I hope you had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed my weird, crazy voices. And as usual, I hope all of you, I'll just say this too. Like I said at the top of the stream, I've been having a lot of like hard mental times lately because of the stuff going on in the world, and hanging out with you guys is very helpful in helping me deal with that. And I hope that all of you are staying positive and staying safe, and staying the wonderful, amazing people that I know all of you are. So thank you for joining me for this hour and a half, and I really hope that it brought you some joy and bright spots in these past few days. So, all right. Adios, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you soon.